Hello everyone, welcome back to Talks by Kate. Please, before we enter today's matter, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends and family, and drop your opinion in the comment section. Because this story is not something we should just hear and pass. Now, what happened in Burkina Faso months ago was not ordinary news. It was not just another government announcement. It was one of those decisions that made people ask questions, argue online, and even misunderstand the real message behind it. Months ago, Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, made a very strong move that shocked many people across Africa and outside Africa. The country placed 10,000 children under military care. Now, when many people first heard that headline, they rushed to conclusions. Some people said, are they training children for war? And others asked, is Burkina Faso turning children into soldiers? But the real story was deeper than that. According to the message coming from supporters of this program, this was not about giving children guns. It was not about sending young people to the battlefield. It was about discipline. It was about patriotism. It was about shaping the minds of the next generation before corruption, betrayal, laziness, and foreign influence shaped them first. Now, and this is where Captain Ibrahim Traoré thinking became clear. He was not only looking at today's Burkina Faso, he was looking at the Burkina Faso of tomorrow. Because let us be honest, a country can have gold, land, soldiers, and resources, but if the minds of the children are already captured, the country is still in danger. If the next generation grows in loving foreign approval more than their own nation, then the future is already weak. That was the message behind the decision. Months ago, when the children entered the program, many critics outside the country did not wait to understand. They judged quickly, they created fear, they twisted the story. But inside Burkina Faso, many people saw it differently. They saw a government trying to build children who would grow into responsible citizens, not betrayers of their own land. The idea was simple: teach them discipline early, teach them love for the country early, teach them unity early. Teach them that leadership is service, not enjoyment. Teach them that the nation belongs to them and they must never sell it for money, position, or foreign praise. Captain Ibrahim Traoré understood something very painful about Africa. Many African nations have not only suffered from outside enemies, they have also suffered from inside enemies. Sometimes the person who destroys a country does not come with a gun. Sometimes he comes with a briefcase. Sometimes he wears a suit. Sometimes he speaks like a patriot, but his heart is already sold. Sometimes he smiles with the people while secretly working against them. Burkina Faso has faced betrayal before, coup plots, internal enemies, and people who were willing to destroy the country for their own interest. So, Traoré's message was that the future generation must not grow up to repeat the same mistakes. That is why this program was more than training, it was prevention. The 10,000 children were brought from different parts of the country. Some came from big towns, some came from villages, some were from poor families, some were from better homes. But once they entered the program, everybody became equal. No one was bigger than the other. No tribe was above another. No family name carried special power. They wore uniform. They followed the same routine. They ate together. They learned together. They were taught that before anything else, they were children of Burkina Faso. And this message is powerful because one of the biggest problems Africa has faced is division. Division by tribe, division by religion, division by politics, division by class as well. Why Africans are busy fighting each other, Outsiders abuse taking what belongs to the continent. That is why the training focus on unity. Yes, they actually place their focus on unity. The children were taught to wake up early. They were taught to arrange themselves. They were they were taught to arrange themselves properly. They were taught to listen. They were taught to obey instructions, to work with their hands, and to respect one another. For some of them, it was not easy at first. Many children today are growing up without structure, but the whole point was to break carelessness and build responsibility. Ibrahim Traoré knew exactly what he was up to. He knew exactly why he was using the children to get into such activities. He is not dumb. He knows exactly what he is doing. So many critics gave their opinions, but did it really matter? No, because the people of Burkina Faso were present, okay, were present and understand what their country is going through, understood the message Ibrahim Chwari was trying to pass when he actually brought these 10,000 children into this kind of training. Now, these children were taught the history of their country, not just the soft version that makes everything look simple, but the painful truth about struggles, about resistance, betrayal, foreign influence, and the cost of freedom. Because when children do not know their history, they can easily be deceived. When they do not understand what their people suffered, they may not value what they have. When they do not know how their country was weakened, they may help weaken it again without even knowing. That is why education was a major part of this program. Voices like Ibrahim Traoré remind us that this story is not just about one leader or one program. It's about the bigger African question. How do we raise children who will protect the continent instead of selling it? That question is serious because Africa does not only need strong soldiers, Africa needs honest doctors, Africa needs engineers who will not sabotage their own people, Africa needs teachers who will not poison young minds, Africa needs politicians who will not betray their country for foreign money. Africa needs future leaders who will understand that the nation is bigger than their personal ambition. Now, according to Ibrahim Traoré, Africa does not only need strong soldiers, Africa needs honest doctors. Africa needs engineers who will not sabotage their own people. Africa needs teachers who will not poison young minds. Africa needs politicians who will not betray their country for foreign money. Africa needs future leaders who understand that the nation is bigger than their personal ambition. I mean, this is a strong message Ibrahim Traoré was passing, and whosoever that understands this message knows exactly what Africans are going through. Okay, Ibrahim Traoré, his wish has always been to free Africa, okay, free Africa from the colonizers, okay, because the masters are still coming in. Okay, if you take a good look at France, you see that Emmanuel Macron is doing everything possible to come into Africa again, despite the fact that the Sahel nation actually sent them out. All right, now it is not even just about Emmanuel Macron, it is about the position. Whoever that occupies that position, it's like there's a tradition. You need to know that, oh, we need to collect from Africa. All right, so Emmanuel Macron, he is just performing a duty that is supposed to be done once you are in that position, and that is exactly what Ibrahim Traoré is trying to stop. All right, because we can't remain like this forever. He is trying to free his people, and he is actually doing a good job. So bringing 10,000 children into this training was actually a good thing, teaching them about unity, teaching them about discipline, teaching them about not betraying their country, teaching them about patriotism. It was actually a good move made by Ibrahim Traoré, and many who actually understood the message applauded him because that was a good job, well done. That was the deeper meaning behind the program. The children were not only told to love Burkina Faso with words, no, not just words. They were shown that love for the country means work. They planted crops, They cleaned their environment. They helped maintain facilities. They learned that food does not magically appear from foreign aid. It comes from farmers. It comes from effort. It comes from people who wake up and work. This kind of lesson may look small, but it can change a child's mind forever. When a child learns discipline early, corruption becomes harder later. When a child learns service early, selfish leadership becomes harder later. When a child learns unity early, tribal hatred becomes weaker later. Now, months ago, this was the vision Captain Ibrahim Traoré put before Burkina Faso. Build the children now so the nation will not collapse tomorrow. And whether people agree with him or not, one thing is clear. He was not thinking only about today. He was thinking about what happens when he is no longer in power. He was thinking about who will inherit the country. Will it be patriots? Or will it be patriots or people who can be bought? Will it be disciplined citizens or confused youth with no directions? Will it be builders or betrayers? That is the real question. The first group of 10,000 children became a symbol. They represented a future that shows that Burkina Faso is awake, proud, and ready. They represented a generation that will understand that independence is not only about flags and national anthem. True independence begins in the mind, because if the mind is still controlled, the country is not fully free. Yes, that was the mission of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and anyone that actually understood this mission, I tell you, was happy with what Ibrahim Chwari was doing. This is why the program did not end after a few days of training. The children were expected to continue learning through follow-up sessions. The message was that patriotism should not be something you remember only during national celebrations. It should become a lifestyle, and that is what made this story important months ago, and why people are still talking about it till today. Now, Burkina Faso was not just training children, it was planting a seed of loyalty, a seed of discipline, a seed of courage, a seed of national pride. Now, some people may criticize it, some may misunderstand it, some may even twist it, but the message behind it was clear. If you want to protect a country, start with the minds of the children. Yes, lovely people, start with the minds of the children. Ibrahim Traoré was actually doing what was supposed to be done by the former leaders long time ago. But what happened? Anybody comes, they try to fill in whoever that comes, try to just fill in the pocket and leave. But Ibrahim Traoré is different, and that is why he brought up this program. Now, I want you to know this. Always remember, the future of Africa will not only be decided by the leaders of today, but by the children we are raising for tomorrow. This is Talks by Kate. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.